My name's Obi James, and I will be talking you through this presentation on leading through ambiguity and beyond. This is a really key area that we should be paying attention to as leaders to help us and our organizations go through this period of uncertainty and look at how we can work better and differently going forward. A little bit about myself. I am the Managing Director of Obi James Consultancy Limited. We specialize in helping organizations create a culture of shared leadership where they can get the best out of their people. I spent years in HR, working on people development, leadership, and culture change, and carry on working with organizations across both private and public sector companies. What I really want to start with is to talk through what we call the 7 C's of a capable culture. At this point in time, with the level of ambiguity that organizations are facing and business leaders are struggling with, what your people are needing is some form of certainty. Our brains crave certainty. And when we don't have it, we make things up. So at this point in time, it is really key for you as leaders to think about where there is some certainty. There are things within your control and there are things that you're not very clear on. And that control is something that will help you through these times, feeling a level of control for yourself as the leader and for your people to feel the same. Another C that is important to pay attention to is that of connection. At this point where everyone is looking at how best to connect virtually, it really is a key area for us to pay attention to, because connection over the phone, over video, is very different to in-person connection. So really want you to start thinking about how can you make sure that isolation and social distancing and virtual working doesn't get in the way of the human connection. And there are different ways that you can do that. Another thing that these times call for is collaboration. How can you tap into your people in a different way? How can you get people to work better together? How can you get people to get inspired and creative, going into creativity, and look into co-creating new ways of you working together? And all of this is wrapped up by this need for collective leadership now more than ever. And what we're going to see is that that's going to be the case going forward. So I'll start off by talking about the 3 phases that will help you break this down for you. As a starting point, the first phase is really to look at resetting your leadership. As a leader, you will need to lead differently in these times. And that involves changes to mindset and amongst other things that I will talk you through shortly. And then what you want to do is, rather than being that leader who is walking you through or your organization through these times, you're looking at getting your people to lean in and step up so that you become a team of leaders as opposed to a team that is overly reliant on you. And then collectively, when you get that team of leaders going, you really are going to be looking at creating that inclusive culture of shared and collective leadership so that you can build an organization that is capable of the ambiguity and change that we have today and beyond. So let's start with, who is this for? At the moment, in the last few weeks, I've been speaking to leaders across various organizations. This presentation is really put together for small and medium enterprise leaders who are feeling quite shaken up by the current crisis. Dispersed leadership teams from, even large organizations that are looking at ways of working differently, and virtual team leaders that just need to pull their people together. So let's go to the first phase that I mentioned, resetting leadership. I love this quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, and it says, "The key to every leader or every man is his thought. Sturdy and defying though he look, he has a helm which he obeys, which is the idea after which all his facts are classified. He can only be reformed by showing him a new idea which commands his own." This is really a time to reset your thinking about what it means to be a leader. The time for the command and control leadership or the traditional leadership where you feel like you have to be the problem solver through this is really over. what we want to do and what I want you to do is to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, you're bringing your full self into this and actually leaning in for support. You do not have to have the answers to everything. This is the time to be clear on what you're able to do and tap into the huge resources that you have available to you. And that requires a change in mindset. That requires being more human. That requires dealing with imposter syndrome and the fear that you might be exposed as not knowing what you're doing. All that stuff is really things for you to set aside right now to think about how can you be that leader that will inspire and empower your people to step up into leadership. And from that phase, there are various ways you can do that. But the really next stage from there is to build that team of leaders. So how do you become the leader that works with this team? Because then you're one of a team of leaders. There are several things that you can do around that. And Farmer's leadership principles that we look at really breaks that down for you. Feedback. Ask your people how you can best support them through these times, what they need for you to support them to be able to step up and lean in. Then you have to adapt. You have to adapt to a different way of thinking. You have to adapt to a different way of working with the leaders that you're growing. And then reconnecting with your people in a different way. So you're reconnecting with these people that are showing up differently as a result of the work that you're going to be doing with them. They will be coming up with more ideas. They will become more courageous. They will be giving you feedback. So at this point in time, you need to look at them differently and actually just ditch the job description and look at what is the talent, wisdom, creativity, and innovation that lies in your people. Lots of people at this point are leaning into their communities, are really stepping up, bringing in all their skills, bringing in marginalized talent that they haven't been able to bring into the workplace. Get to know your people, reconnect with them. And from that reconnection place, you go into mentoring and coaching. So you're shifting from being that problem solver to actually mentoring and coaching your people and bringing them up so they grow the confidence to be able to work differently and bring ideas to the table. There are lots of ways to do that. However, what we're really asking you to do here is to take a moment to think about where do you need to delegate and where do you need to empower and let go. And then we go into review and reward. So if to date your review and reward processes have been very much about the performance, the what people are delivering, it is time for you to take a step back and look at how people are delivering, how people are showing up, how people are collaborating, and start to celebrate and pay attention and reward that. That would inspire the new leaders and the people that are stepping up to do more, of stepping in and leaning in and doing a lot more for your organization collectively as leaders. And then at this point, you're really looking at how can you support and sustain this new way of working. And from that place, you're really looking at supporting your people. You're going round the circle, asking for feedback, and really going round this cycle again with your people and encouraging those that are leading teams to do the same. And from that place, we really do get to a place of culture of shared leadership. This is the new direction that you're heading with this current situation. Building new leaders, stepping back and leading the way that they need you to lead, sometimes from the front, sometimes from the side, sometimes from the back. But you are all collectively stepping up as leaders. And the culture, when we get through this period of crisis management and start to look at business continuity, we're going to start looking at how can you make sure this is sustainable so that collectively you become a more change capable organization and business. The different things that you then start to look at this phase, which is what is your collective vision? How do you make sure you're all aligned around your vision for your organization or business? What is your identity? Really crucial at this point and beyond. Who do you want to be as a leadership team? Who do you want to be as an organization? What do you want to be known for? And that is influenced by the behaviors. What are the behaviors that you've agreed define who you are, define your identity? What are the behaviors you want to be role modeling? to your people, and most importantly, engagement. And at this point, you're looking at how do you engage everyone? How do you build engagement in terms of your employees and staff, but also how do you engage other stakeholders? How do you engage your clients when it comes to client services? And how do you make sure that the results that you get at this stage are truly sustainable? So in terms of today, there are some tips that I've given you already. There are things that you've probably picked up in terms of how you can work differently through these times and beyond. And there are additional tools and processes that you can have available to you. So we've got leadership tests that look at the phase one of resetting your leadership and really gets you exploring how ready you are individually to get your teams where they need to be at this point. And then there are other tests that look at how ready your team members say they are, so that they can step up and collectively become a team of leaders. And then you can look at how ready your business is. There are lots of different ways of doing that. The most important thing at this point in time is that you take care of yourself and your people so that collectively you can take care of your organization. As I say here, the way you care for and include your people today will determine their ability and appetite to step into your organization after this period of uncertainty. So on that note, I would like to say, take care of yourself, lean in, ask for support. We are available to help, other people are available to help. Don't go through this alone. It is not an easy journey. However, I believe that together we can all get through it. Good luck and best wishes.